You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. I'm your host tonight, Kev, and I'm joined by Adam and Robin as we, chew over what was probably a predicted loss. To be fair, it's Man City, and when they get in that kind of mood, you end up with that kind of result. Lads, how are we today, Adam? Start with you.
I'm not too bad. A little disappointed in that result. I think that's probably without sounding horrible, that's our worst performance of the season to date. But we'll get onto those thoughts in just a few minutes, man. But yeah, all good.
And Robin, how are you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm doing good. So yeah, let's get back on with it. I do disagree with Adam slightly, but we'll come to that.
We like a disagreement. But for me, yeah, is it our worst performance? Probably not.
Well, no, Burnley was worse to me.
I was just going to say, or was it just a bad result against a very good team? Like I said a minute ago, when Man City are in that kind of mood, they just suffocate you. You know, that's why they've won as many league titles as they have. That's why they're sitting. All right, yeah, they've had a bad few results, but that's why they're sitting where they sit in the table. They're always there or thereabouts, aren't they? You know, Arsenal sitting top, but let's be honest, Arsenal being the early kickoff, Man City will have known that result when the game kicked off and will have known a win closes that gap right up. Is it a fair result? Does it flatter us? Does it flatter them? To be honest, for the first 20 minutes, I thought we looked pretty comfortable. Things looked okay. But, yeah, Diaz with a strike out of nowhere.
That got a deflection.
Yeah. And then the header from a corner. And all of a sudden, you're 2-0 down chasing the game. And I think that's how it looked. I think, to be honest with you, the first goal unsettled us. The second goal just completely shocked us. You know, what was it? 2 goals in 5-ish minutes?
3.5 or something. I mean, to me, the first goal, yeah, look, he hit a good ball, but it was a deflection that took it past Roofs. He almost kept it out, but that touch off Ballard. I mean, you saw Ballard's reaction. He sort of knew that he never got enough on it. So, yeah, fortuitous. Look, it happens with deflections. Second goal, yeah, look, it's a set piece. We should have defended it better. Obviously, Roofs was impeded slightly by Bernardo Silva. It's one of those that is not enough to give a free kick for. But as the corner's taken, he moves across Roofs to stop him coming out, which then he can't get the position he wants. But yeah, we were a bit unfortunate, I think, to go 2-0 down in the circumstances we did. Because I think we were compact. We weren't giving him any chances. I mean, you got to think, Haaland had 1 attempt on goal. I think he had more touches in his own box defending than what he did in our box attacking. So yeah, I mean, look, Man City's Man City. Phenomenal team. It could have been more. But also, you got to think, when Wilson did really well and robbed the defender, if he hadn't just hit it as hard as he could and just sort of like realised that Donnarumma was coming out and just tried to slide it past him, it goes 2-1 then. Obviously, a few minutes later, Xhaka hits the post and the ball ricochets in the box, comes off a City defender, another City defender clears it with Ballard right close to it. It could have gone the other way. It could have been 2-2. And then before we know it, an absolutely brilliant bit of skill, by Cherky, little Rabona, and Phil Foden heads it, but look, it comes off the top of his head and it goes on the underside of the bar. I mean, on another day, that's going way over the top. So they were a bit fortuitous for their goals. We were a bit unlucky in front of, their goal, really. But overall balance of play, I mean, come on, they deserve to win. It's not like Liverpool the other night where we, kept them quiet and stuff and should have won the game. Man City deserved that all day long, and yeah, we played well. I mean, like I say, I think the Burnley performance was far worse. I mean,
Yeah.
Adam, do you want to say something before I continue talking for the entire pod?
No, man, I was just going to let you just give the full 90-minute speech. It's fine. No, for me, it was more. We kind of expected a result like this against City anyway. It's one of those. It's as you've mentioned, Kev. They're a top team for a reason. They're not this minnow team like, for example, like Wolves. What Wolves are struggling with at the minute. They're nothing compared to them. It just, for me, part of me just wanted more. But I think at the minute, same as every other fan at the minute, we're expecting more because of where we are at the minute, the way the results are going. And I think that's what's flattering us, so to speak, because the fact being we're used to now going out there, getting a 2-0 result against Wolves, getting a 3-0 result against West Ham. We're like, look, this is us. We're here to do this. Go down to Liverpool. As Robin said, should we have won that game? Part of us are like, yes. Part of us like, no. Take a draw against the reigning champions, run with it, take it, everything like that. And we, to me, in parts of that game, dominated it. To me, in this game, bar those handful of shots, it was all the Man City show, which is rightly to be. But the one thing I'm happy about, and what me and you spoke off podcast, is we're happy that Haaland was quiet. If Haaland got his luck of the draw, dangerous times that would have been.
Yeah, and I mean, that's one thing to say, at least Haaland had nothing against us. Bearing in mind, he's scored against pretty much every team he's played against in the Premier League. I believe we're one of the only teams he hasn't actually scored against. So
The only team.
The only team. There you go.
And
that's
that's
the way
only
I look
played
at
us
it.
once, though.
So far, maybe a different result at our place. But no, the way I look at it is, we knew December was going to be tough. You look at the run of fixtures we've got. I think we've probably got the hardest month out of any team in the division. When they planned the fixtures, they clearly didn't think fairly on teams. But it is what it is. We come out of December unscathed. We still sit comfortably. We're 9 points above the drop zone, so to speak. Yeah, you're going to lose some points. You're going to have some results. Look, if someone had said to you the other day, you're about to face Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Man City, and you're going to come away with 4 points, you're probably going to laugh and say, go on then, aren't you? Some fans had us written off that this was going to be a pointless month. No pun intended. Yeah, we've got bigger games to come in the next few weeks. We'll see what happens. The games are thick and fast now. The way I look at it is, things didn't go our way. We could talk about decision making. I agree with you, Robin. A little bit more experience on Isidore, and he probably knows not to just leather that. He probably knows to take a second and slot it, but he's still learning himself. I know I messaged in the chat. I do feel there is a top 6 bias in some of the decision making with the officials. I just feel the referees are very quick to punish. And I'm not saying Luke's red isn't a red. It is a red, absolutely. It's a stupid, horrific tackle. But just the niggly fouls, the time wasting, the messing around, the top 6 clubs are protected from it, it seems. And then as soon as we start to slow the game down or we try any tactics, it's very quickly stamped out. Roofs took a minute or two to take a goal kick, and the referee is straight away on his whistle telling him to hurry up and having a word with Xhaka saying he's done that twice now. Yet Donnarumma did it in the 10th minute because of the pressure we were applying, and the referee just didn't even mention it, didn't even peep. And then the move in the ball. How many times did Man City wander up the touchline with the ball for a throw-in to try and gain a position? But when Mukiele tried to do it, he was sent back further than the throw-in had been. one of those incidents. Gvardiol's tackle. I mean, do we even mention that one? I would say it was probably harder than Luke's, but it wasn't higher than Luke's. So
Well,
did they?
this is what's got my gripe this week. To fair the referee, obviously you said about the referee being biased towards top six elite clubs, as you call them. Obviously, I've got to correct Adam again, second time in the pod. I wouldn't call Wolves minnows. I mean, Wolves are a massive club. They're historically big. They're not doing very well at the minute, but they're certainly not minnows. But yeah, the bias towards the top six is there, and I don't think it was the referee this week. I thought the referee was pretty good. I thought he was fair. You got to think he gave a yellow at first for 09. What disappointed me was how quick VAR agreed with him over Gvardiol, which that had a lot more force in it, that tackle. He was out of control. Luke was reckless, but Gvardiol was out of control, and there's a difference. Out of control like that, with the force that he went in, you can break someone's leg. Luke caught his calf and it looked a lot worse. But where Gvardiol took him just above the ankle on Mukiela, just above the ankle, that's where you get leg breaks. You're not going to break your leg from someone catching your calf like that. And I feel that VAR weren't consistent. We talk about referees being consistent. I think the referee was consistent. He thought both were yellows. But one of them he was sent to the monitor for, and the other one he wasn't. And when you look at them both on the still, which is generally the first thing that they see, they're both red cards. And
But he wasn't sent to the monitor for the Guardiola one, was he?
exactly, because they ruled it out within about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
If that, it was like, no further action. And you think at the point then, I mean, they'd just gone 2-0 up. But if they go down to 10 men then, it's a different game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, when 09 got sent off, it makes no difference in the 95th minute. It made no difference whatsoever. I mean, it was one of those, Luke's played about 10 minutes of Premier League football and he's got a 3-match ban already. I am, quite, in a way, quite happy because obviously it means that he won't play in the derby because, as I said before, he can be a bit of a liability, and I do feel that the Premier League's a level above him. Look, I'm glad he's made his debut. I'm glad he's seen the journey through with us, but I don't understand the decision to bring him on and not like Dan Neil or somebody. When you're taking players off from those positions, then bring a midfielder on, bring Dan Neil on. I do feel a bit sorry for the lad there. I think it was a strange decision, and in a way, it's backfired.
Funny little stuff here, though, Robin, in regards to Luke's red on the weekend. He is the only player that has managed to get a red card in all 4 top England competitions. So 1 in the Premier League, 1 in the Championship, 1 League One, and League Two now. The first ever player to do it. So at least he's made history with it.
Well, I mean, look, it's his footballing journey, isn't it? He's made it into the Premier League and he's managed to play.
Yeah.
Which, let's face it, I mean, when he was released by, what was it, Watford, and he went to Wilson United, then, to go from non-league football and to get to the Premier League, there's not many players that do it. Obviously, Jamie Vardy did it and stuff, and obviously Kevin Phillips has done it. But Kevin Phillips has gone from non-league up to, the Championship.
Yeah.
For 09 to go through, all the divisions, it shows his character, it shows his belief in it. It also shows what you can do, if you work hard enough. And look, fair play to the lad. I've got nothing against him as such. But like I said, I do feel that sort of showed that he's not got the pace of the Premier League. Silly little thing like that. In League One or even the Championship, he quite possibly wins the ball. But the Premier League players are that much quicker.
I don't really know what further to say to that. I mean, look, fans hate Luke 09. They want to call him a liability. I get it. But his work ethic, you can't question. He's told to come on in the 90th minute, 2 games in a row to replace players and play out of position. He's doing a job. You're absolutely right. He's not expecting that player to move as quick as he does. He goes to try and stop the run and times it absolutely abysmally. Um, was he going to feature in the derby? No, I don't think he would have. Let's be brutally honest. We saw how he reacted in the cup game, and that was 2 years ago. Different. Look, they're all different players to what they were 2 years ago. The Mags are all, you know, currently having jolly moments to themselves because they're 1 point behind us, but they're the richest club in the world. I know we're here to review Man City, but at the end of the day, the likes of Luke, the likes of Dan Neil are not going to feature in the derby. Dan Ballard will, because he is a completely different player to what he was 2 years ago. Trey Hume's going to feature in the derby. He's a completely different player to who he was 2 years ago. And, you know, Regis got it absolutely spot on by, I think, testing them with how well they could discipline themselves by not getting carded early on. And then in the 70th minute went, the game's done now. That's when he made the substitutions, obviously, to remove Siddiqui and Xhaka from the game. You've got to wonder what's going on the training ground, though, for him to remove 2 midfielders and Daniel doesn't get brought into the mix. Like, I'm not being disrespectful to Dan Neil, but there's clearly stuff going on in the background that we're not aware of for him to put absolutely everyone else on first and for Dan Neil to still be a third, fourth, fifth choice substitute behind Luke, Adingra, whoever else he throws into the mix. At this point, Masuaku is going to be getting another start before Dan Neil gets on the pitch. But that's another conversation to have because obviously it's now being kind of murmured on social that Masuaku could be away in January because he's not getting the game time. He's not happy. And I know, Robin, we weren't exactly overly impressed with him when he played against Man United, but these are, again, players that aren't going to feature.
I've heard about a month ago that Masuaku is probably on his way. I think he's looking to go back to Besiktas over in Turkey, or Besiktas, whatever it is. I'll let Adam correct me on the pronunciation, but
I'll be good.
No, it's I mean, he's not a player we're going to miss. Obviously, Africon, they're naming their squads. Obviously, Diarra's not been named in the Senegal squad, which is an absolute bonus for us because, he could be back very soon. And with him not going to AFCON, it means you've got another midfielder, which then it replaces losing Siddiqui.
Yeah.
Which is it's gonna be absolutely massive, that, because, I mean, he was our record signing. He started the season on fire, then picked up his injury. So to get him back in the team just in time as Siddiqui goes is going to be fantastic. It's like the return of Mundell, with obviously Adingra and Taubi going.
Oh, absolutely. We've got a lot of options coming back. I mean, as we've mentioned, Sirkin imminently ready. And I think he'll slot back in. I do think he fits back in this squad. That's the other thing I was going to mention against the City squad is we seem to be playing square pegs in round holes. There was a few times where players were being told to play out of position.
Yeah.
And we got caught out for it. But, overall, lads, I mean, do we just write that one off as a bad day? Obviously, we can talk about more things now, but, sort of summarising the City game, did we get the result we deserved? Probably not. But were we really expecting much different? I know we all predicted a different scoreline in our predictions, but that's what you do as a pod. You predict the best outcome possible for your squad.
I mean, I thought, sorry, Kev, I was just say, I mean, I thought we'd be a lot more attacking. I thought where the weakness was, obviously, none of us knew that Reinildo was injured at the time. And obviously playing Trey Hume as the left wing back, I think altered the way we went forward, and I think that affected the team. And that was the thing. I mean, Hatrada played really well. I thought, Mukiela, went to the right wing back. Alderete's, to me, possibly our best defender. I know obviously people love Ballard and that, but I think Alderete himself is when you look at just the footballing side, I think he's, probably at the next level. I mean, how we managed to get him, I don't know. It's one of them things how we managed to get Xhaka. But like you say, I mean, Trey Hume playing as a left wing back, or even, left wing at times, and then I mean, that's what I said before, to be replaced by Luke O'Nien is just bizarre. When you've got other players that could, probably do a better job.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to touch on with the couple of thoughts I had with. Obviously, I'm over the moon that Diarra will be back pretty much soon enough. Get back on the pitch. It'll be nice to see him. Obviously, Sadiq will be gone, to then Diarra to slot back in next to Xhaka makes perfect sense for now. The other thing for me was in regards to just touching on Dan Neil to start with. I did hear murmurings in regards to Dan Neil. The reason why he's not getting more chances to come on, for example, is his attitude. He's not happy still, but he lost his captaincy effectively. I think that's what it is. He understands why he's lost it to Xhaka, because Xhaka is that natural born leader. And the club's turned on and went, learn from Xhaka. If you learn from him, you play the way he does, or you effectively mirror image what Xhaka can do. There you go. You'll get your time. You'll get your moments. Yes, we know he'll more than likely feature in, like, say, the third round of the FA Cup. He might get that game, depending on what the team is and stuff like that. And then touching on in regards to what Robin was saying there about Alderete, wholly agree with you. You two both know my thoughts on Omar Alderete. I think he's incredible. And it just comes back to what that Getafe president said, wasn't it? I am losing my best defender. I'm losing one of the best players in that division. And what was he? 10.5 million?
Yeah, I think it's not his literal wording, but it was something like, I'm losing one of the best centre backs in the division for peanuts.
Yeah, and like, you look what he could be worth now. If we were to ever sell him again, he's probably doubled his value already. So
I was going to say, there's the Premier League tax, isn't there? It happens where players are worth a figure when they become a Premier League player and are good in the Premier League. Their value skyrockets. I mean, that's one of the things I was going to mention. Man City was, at one point, they brought on 140 something million pounds worth of substitutes so they can rest their players for the Champions League. Like, that's just mind blowing. But that's what they do. I mean, Man City's squad, a bit like when we spoke about Liverpool, that squad is worth 500 million plus easily.
Yeah.
And we looked, like I say, for the first 20 minutes, we did look fairly comfortable. Do we look comfortable now? Absolutely not. But it's one of those things, isn't it, where, yeah, you take the L, so to speak, and you move on from it. Bigger games coming up. Did we come out of that game unscathed? Realistically, yes. Mukiele takes an absolute pasting week in, week out. The tackles that are on him are not right. I just think the Premier League know how good he is. So they just wipe him out. Yeah, no, I think they do. I think they know what trouble he can bring. So they just try as hard as they can to wipe him out.
This is why the VAR didn't do their job, because he got hurt. That was a horrendous challenge by Guardiola. Horrendous. Yeah. And it was virtually before the trainers had even got on the pitch, to the medical stuff to see what he's like. It had been reviewed and over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's disgraceful by the VAR.
Just your thoughts on this, Robin, in regards to Mukiele, because obviously, Kev, you can give your thoughts on it as well, to be fair. In Mukiele, he's obviously came from PSG. He knows, like, how to astute play, shall we say, in the highest level. Do we think he's used to, like, getting pretty much manhandled, brought to the ground, literally smashed effectively, because of the fact being in the French league, it's not exactly the cleanest of leagues for tackles? Do we think that's why his determination is, right, you've just wiped me out, I can get back up, I can carry on? Or do you think it's just his mentality?
Mukiele gets hit like he does. He gets up. Their player gets hit like that. They're all around for 3 weeks like they've been shot. But anyway, over
Yeah.
to you, Robin.
And obviously, Mukiela is obviously from PSG, which are one of the protected elite teams in France. So they're not getting challenged like that anyway. I think it's just the mentality of the player. I think he's sort of like, being at, one of the world's biggest clubs. Certainly France's biggest club. They won the Champions League last season. And he's come to restart his career, and I think he's pretty switched on with, what's needed at Sunderland with the rest of the squad that have come in. We know that they like hard work. That if you show the effort, the fans are going to love you.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. But it doesn't take away from the fact that challenge was disgusting.
True.
And what was more
because the players in
disgusting
a
as
Man City
well,
shirt.
yeah, but also the edited pathetic highlights on BBC. Why show the 09 thing and not show that? Because they know full well if they show that, they're going to have to talk about it and say, why didn't VAR review that one?
Yeah, exactly.
I was going to say you probably struggle to find a clip of it because, like you say, it was very quickly swept away and forgotten about. But we move on. Like you say, is respectfully 09 going to be a miss for the derby? No, because he wasn't going to feature. I saw one today on. I'm just going to mention it quickly. I saw one on Twitter today. Oh, look, he's bottled playing in the derby because Gordon's going to have him. He was never going to feature. But thanks for watching our match.
Exactly.
Multiple up the road commenting on our games. We've got nothing better to watch.
We've got better.
Weren't they playing at the same time as us?
Yeah, but it seems like they watch our match rather than theirs.
Ah, fair.
Well, remember, boys, there's a certain lovely TikToker that likes to all he does is watch us. He doesn't watch his own team.
That just baffles me. But anyway, I'm not going to get into it. This can be part of the this can be part of the derby conversation. Because yeah, for me, that's the baffling part.
Yeah.
The fact that they would rather watch our match and comment on our match and our players than their own.
And go to our games wearing their shirts.
Yeah. Well, there is that. But, we've got, a week now to recover?
Yeah.
Get on with it. Dust ourselves off. And genuinely, I want the lads to take the Man City loss as a bit of a reset. I want them to be angry. I want them to go and get angry. I want them to fire themselves up for what's going to be a big game. Because it is a big game at the end of the day. It's the first proper derby in however many years.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, do we count the cup?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, we had bigger things to focus on.
I have a feeling, based on some of what you've just said, I 100% agree. I think it's the way Xhaka's mentality will be. Get them in. Obviously, today will be, I would have imagined, would have been a rest day. Get them back in on Monday and went, right, lads, listen here. That was appalling. Few probably expletives as well. This is what we need to do. And same as Regis. We know Regis will do his homework. Obviously, we'll discuss this more when it comes to the preview. But I think that's what Xhaka's going to do. Xhaka's going to fire them up. He's been in derbies in his life, and big derbies at that as well. So I think he'll get them ready and prepared for a fight, effectively.
Well, that was one of the things he did say in his post-match, wasn't it? That we are tired.
Yeah.
We've played two very, very physical games in Bournemouth because that was a tough game, lads. That was a tough game. And then obviously Liverpool, again, a tough game against, champions of the league for a reason. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
not exactly slow.
No, but do you know what I mean? We haven't been playing Burnley or lower end teams. We've played two of the probably roughest and toughest games of the season. Bournemouth are a good side. I know we got the result against them, but yeah, that's probably been two of the hardest games of the season. I would say City's probably the best opposition we've played because they are just relentless. They sat deep, they took the pressure that we applied, and then absolutely smothered us. So, yeah.
Well, that was the other thing with the match of the day highlights. How many of the highlights were just Man City on the break?
Yeah, they didn't show any of us.
Which showed that we were applying pressure. It's just the fact that they are that a much of a better team, unfortunately. It's just one of those things. I mean, they are at elite level. They've spent billions of pounds. You know, they've got world superstars. You know, yeah. I mean, I think the lads probably did have a day off today, but, you know, I don't think, though, Adam, that they're going to get a roasting. I don't think that's the way that the club's
No.
run now.
No, when I say I don't
think,
mean it in a roasting. What I mean in the sense of being that they're going to just be right.
Breaking it
It
down.
was a rubbish. It was a rubbish result.
no, yeah, but I don't think they'll get it. The thing is, though, the way that it is now with the sports scientists and everything like that, and especially with Regis and the way that I feel he coaches and the way he looks at the game, I think he'll show what they could have done better at certain times.
Mhm.
But I don't think he's going to do anything that could possibly knock their confidence whatsoever. I think, you know, you've got to be very careful going into a derby match on the back of that result by saying the wrong things. I think if you turn around and say the wrong things, then it could be horrendous next weekend. I think, you know, he's going to build them up again, put it behind us. Like you said, we're learning all the time.
I think even he said that in his interviews, hasn't he?
Yeah. You know, it's a tough league. They're learning every single game. You know, you can't let one game affect your season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we were in the position that Wolves are in, which is what everyone expected us to be, then yeah, it would be a bit different. But, you know, we're not. We're where we are for a reason. And when you listen to people talk about us, they say how good a job Regis has done. They say how good the recruitment was. And they're saying, you know, possibly so far this season, we are the team of the season. If we keep this up, this sort of form up, obviously, let's forget this weekend it's happened. But the rest of the season, if we keep that up, we're on for a top 10 finish.
Mm-hmm.
And for a newly promoted club, I'm going to use it. I know we hate using it, but we are a newly promoted club this season. For us to do what we're doing and be in the position we're in shows that we're a good team and we've got good footballers there. Let's not do anything to jeopardise that.
That's pretty much a wrap, lads, to be fair. We've got a big pod to do later on in the week. Don't know, just a small matter of a derby to talk about. But look, where are we sitting as the weekend closes, other than Man United Wolves to play Monday night football? Because, God, let's be honest, Super Sunday or whatever today was meant to be was awful. But
Just a smidge.
it's for Sky TV. They know what they're doing.
Look, let's be fair to Sky. They've got to give every team their time out and stuff and on there. And let's face it, West Ham, Brighton, not the greatest of games, you know, Palace, Fulham, local derby. But
I'd rather
if
watch paint dry, mate.
yeah,
Jesus.
but what you got to think that, you know, but the fans of their clubs are probably thinking the same when we're on, or Leeds are on, or Wolves are on, or Burnley are on. You know, at least it's a change from Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Liverpool. Yeah, it's
So
not the most.
let's put them on at 3 o'clock on a football embargo session. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Like, well done, Sky. Hello.
It must be said today with today's fixtures. I did manage to obviously do my shopping, which I moved to Sunday. I managed to do a load of housework and tidy up the house because I just wasn't interested in what was going on.
But do you know what I mean? Like, respectfully, look, we've got less than a couple of minutes to go, lads. But some of the teams that played yesterday that they could have easily put at better times to televise: Tottenham, Brentford, London game, us, Man City, because Man City and the title race, Everton, Forest, the Dyche derby, because obviously you managed both of them, Arsenal, Villa. These are all games that could have easily been featured in this weekend, but no, it's kind of
the Arsenal Villa game was the TNT 12:30 game, though.
I was more
But do you
interested
know
in
what I mean?
some
Like,
of the housewife tricks there.
but yeah, absolutely. To be fair, yeah, Monday night football, Wolves versus Man United. What's that going to be? The Cunha. derby. The what's his name? Is it Embuemo? No, he was Brentford, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
It was
Mateus
Cunha, wasn't it,
Cunha,
that did the Wolves move?
who's injured.
So yeah, like great planning. But no, look.
In other news, as Robin said,
we're
he's a domestic. As I said there, in other news, Robin admitted that he's a domestic goddess. So
maybe
This is
Sky
true.
know that Wolves are going to do something and turn over Man United.
Maybe.
what a
You never
turn
know.
of the books that would be.
But no, look, lads, the way I look at it is we've closed the weekend out. We're sitting eighth.
Yeah.
We're level on points with Liverpool and Brighton. So we're not doing too badly. And like I said a minute ago, we're 9 points clear of Forest, sitting 17th. No, sorry, West Ham. But yeah, we just need to keep our heads up. We focus on Sunday, which is going to be a strange one, isn't it? And yeah, we review, any news that comes out of club over the next few days about injuries and returns and go from there with it. But look, to both of you, thank you for joining me. It's always hard to think of positives when you lose a game, but it was against Man City, so yeah, it was what it was. Anything from you two?
When you said returns, Kev, do you mean players or the 900 tickets that they didn't sell and returned?
Mate, I was going to bring that up next week. Yeah,
we still will.
and we sold them out within, I think, a couple of minutes of them going available. But anyway,
it was ridiculous, wasn't it? It was something like 155 seconds or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, lads, thank you for joining me. To our listeners, I hope you've enjoyed us ranting on for 40 minutes about a loss. And we will catch you all. It makes a change, exactly. And we will catch you all later on in the week when we preview the derby.